You're watching the Entrepreneurial SME, and if you just joined us, we are exploring the importance of insurance for small businesses. My guests are Francois Potgieter, Managing Director at Bi-Me, better known as Business Insurance Made Easy, as well as Director of Doughgetters, Kenneth Coetzer, who's in the Western Cape. Please share your thoughts on our socials using the hashtag #TesMe. What are the typical insurance products that I should take as an SME?
It's good to break it down. I think for me, there's probably five areas of insurance. Firstly, if you start your business, there's certain insurance requirements by your regulator or your professional body. So Bi-Me is a small business started, and we regulated by the FSCA.
Yeah.
And so we need professional indemnity insurance as a key requirement, for example. You might be a doctor or an accountant, and your association requires certain insurance. So that's the first thing that you require. The second thing that you've got to look at is the insurance that is required by law. So, for example, UIF, workman's compensation, etc. The third type of insurance is the insurance that your clients require from you. When you want to do business on a site, for example, or you want to come to a client's house, they might ask you, do you have public liability insurance? Do you have professional indemnity insurance? And that's insurance you then need to do business. You almost can't do business without that. Yeah. So those are the first three. The fourth one, I think, is then looking at what you own, your assets. How do you protect your assets against theft, fire, accidental damage, etc.? And then lastly, you probably look at people. What cover do you need for either your employees, for yourself? In other words, you could require accidental death or disability for your employees, depending on what work they do. You might have certain group schemes for your employees you want to look after. And then your directors and owners might require key man insurance in case something happens to them. And so that's the fifth area, which is the life insurance component.
Please explain that a bit, because I know that a lot of us don't know this key man insurance.
Yeah, so that's actually quite a nice way of thinking about the description is so clear. It's who's the key people in your business? Yeah. And if should something happen to them, where does it leave the business? Yeah. So in other words, I often see two partners starting a business. They're doing really well. They're young. They're energetic. They each own 50% of the business. And something unfortunate happens to the one partner.
Or they're fired.
Or they're fired. And so if someone leaves, the key thing is, how do I carry on my business? Now, key man insurance, it often only covers death and disability. So in that case, you receive a lump sum that either then gets paid to the estate of the person that died.
In lieu of the shareholding.
In lieu of the shareholding, and then the new shareholder can get that back. Yeah. Or alternatively, it might be to provide additional capital to the business at that time, which you would need to either employ someone else or whatever the case might be. If someone leaves, that's also an interesting thing. I mean, but that's a separate conversation in the sense that how do you protect your business if someone leaves on bad terms? Also very important to ask that question up front.
Kenneth, when did you establish Doughgetters? And I'm leading you to something else here.
So Doughgetters started in 2017. It was the brainchild of two gents. One's name's Willem Haroff and the other one, Murray Barnettson. They both run around the corporate world, and they decided that they wanted to step up and get into the SME space, particularly knowing that SMEs are the lifeblood of the South African economy. They wanted to build an accounting business that was going to walk that path with the SMEs and grow with them.
In the list of priorities when the business was started, staplers here, a little cupboard there, a car outside, a bank account. Was insurance in the top 5?
Yeah, so that's a terrible question to ask me. I think, as a business owner, cash is king, and feeding the family and growing the business tend to take priority.
So, Kenneth, there's personal insurance and business insurance. Where do we straddle between the two? Which one do we keep personal? Which one do we keep business? Because you are the business as a person.
Yeah, I mean, that is a great question because, the way things work, we do have a separation between business and personal insurance. But I think you touched on a really important issue there is right at the beginning when you're starting your business. And if I have to step away from just the accounting side and look at some of the clients that I've had in startup mode, they're using their own assets to build the business. They don't have the money to separate their personal from their business affairs at that point. So it does become a bit of an area where I think we can play a little more aggressively in helping small businesses cover themselves. But certainly after the business has started and you are moving into a more sustainable cash flow and that sort of thing, and you're able to start paying for the insurance that you need to get. And I think that one of the things that we do make as a mistake, and I have to admit we made the mistake as well, that we waited too long to start our insurance. Fortunately, we were very fortunate that we didn't have to deal with any catastrophic losses, but the business was exposed for a period of time. Other than, as Francois mentioned in his earlier point, the regulatory insurances that we had, it took us a while to stack our insurance so that we were well covered for all the points that he mentioned in his previous comments.
Francois, what are the typical consequences of being underinsured or even uninsured?
So uninsured, I think it doesn't matter how big your business is, you have the same ultimate goals. You need money for the shareholders, and if it's only my business and I've started in the township, I still need money for the shareholder, right? And secondly, I need to protect my assets. And so the consequence of being uninsured is that often it causes a chance that if something happens, you might only get a pro rata refund of your claim. So if I underinsured, for example, my office, then there's a chance that the underwriter would, at claim stage, not pay out the full claim. But there's a partial claim that you will still get. If you're uninsured, obviously that means that you expose yourself to a big loss. Now, certain people can carry a loss, other people can't. And that's the key, the dilemma that we face.
I'm going to end with a very stupid question. Could I survive without insurance running my own business, whatever type, service or product?
So I mean, you could survive month to month.
Yeah.
The reality, though, is that one event will wipe you out. And hindsight is always 20/20, right? I think it's very important to rather say to yourself, do I want to have a successful business when I retire? Or do I want to have a chance that at 30 or 35 I've lost everything? That's really what we're trying to protect.
Judging by the sound of my voice today, I may have to insure it. Thank you so much for joining us on the Entrepreneurial SME. From me, Rams Mabote, good night and God bless.
Telkom Business, behind South African businesses' drive to thrive.